Terezín is a town located 50 kilometers north of Prague. It was repurposed by Nazi Germany shortly after its occupation of Czechoslovakia in 1939. The Gestapo quickly transformed an 18th century fortress into a detention site to imprison their enemies, and by 1941 it was being used as a concentration camp to imprison Jews from Germany, Austria, Czechoslovakia, and later Jews across the Third Reich. But this wasn't a concentration camp, or so the Nazis wanted the world to believe. They staged an elaborate propaganda campaign to disguise the horrors of their genocidal agenda against the Jews, using Terezín as a tool for achieving this goal. Initially, Terezín served as a transit camp and holding center for Jews, primarily targeting the elderly, war veterans, intellectuals, and public figures. The Nazis touted it as a Jewish city, portraying it as a vibrant community and an ideal haven for retirement. In 1944, in response to pressure from the King of Denmark and international organizations, the Nazis permitted the Red Cross to inspect Terezín. However, before the visit, they initiated Operation Embellishment, a massive effort to disguise the camp as a model Jewish settlement. The delegation passed freshly painted buildings and inspected fake institutions including a butcher shop, post office, pharmacy, and even a spa. This was all fabricated to project a thriving, humane settlement. The visit also included a performance of Verdi's Requiem, conducted by Jewish prisoner and Czech composer Raphael Schechter, along with other prisoners he had trained. The harsh reality behind this elaborate facade was one of brutality, illness, starvation, and death. These conditions of slow, deliberate attrition reflected the Nazis' calculated agenda to exterminate as many Jews as possible. The carefully constructed facade intended to deceive the Red Cross delegation, however, was largely successful, leading to a report that portrayed Terezín as a humane and thriving settlement. In fact, Swiss Red Cross representative Maurice Russell went so far as to describe the camp by stating that the SS police gave the Jews the freedom to organize their administration as they see fit. Propaganda is a dangerous tool used to distort the truth, justify the unimaginable, and mislead the world about what is truly happening. And while many might think that propaganda designed to deceive the world about the Jews, like we saw at Terezín, is a thing of the past, we see it happening in the aftermath of October 7th every day. On October 7th, Hamas terrorists entered Israel, murdering over 1,200 people, burning homes, executing children and entire families, raping, torturing, dismembering, and burning alive countless civilians. 250 innocent civilians were kidnapped, dragged across the border to Gaza. This was done in pursuit of the goal of killing as many Jews as possible and destroying Israel.
ربنا يحميك يا رب، ربنا يحميك يا رب، ربنا يحميك يا رب. قال لك من جواز يهودية قتلتها وقتلت جوزها. الله أكبر، الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر ولله الحمد. يابا تعال شوف كيف قتلت يابا.
But just as the Nazis sought to obscure the horrors of the Holocaust with carefully curated lies, efforts to sanitize and justify the October 7th massacre began almost immediately. Headlines emerged claiming that hostages were treated well, that the violence was exaggerated, or that the attacks were somehow provoked. And just as the Red Cross bought into the Nazi lies about Terezín, international organizations today have similarly fallen prey to the narratives that downplay the scale of the atrocities and shift blame away from the perpetrators. The story of Terezín reminds us that propaganda is not just a tool of the past, but a weapon still used to justify atrocities against the Jewish people today. From Nazi lies to the denial, distortion, or minimizing of October 7th, the message is the same. Distort the truth, justify the unthinkable, and embolden the perpetrators. We must learn from the past, confront antisemitism wherever it appears, and understand that the promise of never again is now.